discuss diplomatic agent. Here it is concerned is with who is diplomatic agent, what is his functions, and how is claiming privileges and immunities. Can he waive his privileges and immunities which are conferred under the conventions? Now we will go with first one, who is called as a diplomatic agent. Diplomatic agent is one who represents the receiving state in the from the sending state, and this ambassador or the diplomatic agent who represent not only his receiving state but also he performs several functions on behalf of the sending state. He protects the interest of his nationals in the receiving state. He makes negotiation with certain developments, and he also reports to the government with regarding to the developments which were taken place in the receiving state, and he also helps in the promoting friendly relations. But he is under certain obligations not to interfere with the internal affairs of the receiving state. Then, if he commits any illegal acts in the receiving state, that is, the sending state can call back the diplomatic agent, or in extreme cases, the receiving state can declare that diplomatic agent if he commits any illegal act as a person ex gratia, but the receiving state cannot make any punishment. Even this principle is also known from the time immemorial. For example, in case of that is Ramayana and Mahabharata, it reveals that when Hanumanta, when he went to Lanka as a messenger, what is the torture and the punishment made by that is Ravana? It is condemned under the conduct of rules, or what is called as code of conduct. The same principle which is also available in the customary rules of international law. For that is diplomatic agents are considered as they are performing certain sovereign functions, and they should be duly respected and to be treated with all the respect, and the receiving state has to take certain preventions not to commit any injury either by its individuals or by the head of the state or officials when they are staying in the receiving state. Then these diplomatic agents who are classified into three categories. These categories are based on their sovereign functions. That is, first classification is ambassadors and legates. One. Second one is ministers plenipotentiary or extraordinary. One. Third one is charge d'affaires. First category, that is ambassadors, who are the representatives of the state, and they are represented by the state and they are appointed by the state government. And legates are those who are appointed by the Pope. In second case, ministers plenipotentiary, but they are not as the first category of ambassadors, but they could not enjoy those privileges and immunity which are conferred on the diplomatic envoys. For that, they are classified as the second category. Third category is the charge d'affaires. Charge d'affaires are those diplomats which are who are appointed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And these diplomatic envoys who are enjoying certain privileges and immunities which are conferred under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961 Convention. Under these conventions, that is, these immunities and privileges are conferred for their special functions and also considered they are outside the receiving state. On this basis, certain privileges and immunities are granted under this Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961. Now we will see what are the privileges and immunities. There are special benefits which are given to these diplomatic agents because of their sovereign functions. Otherwise, they are performing in the receiving state on behalf of the sending state. First one, inviolability of the persons of envoys. Inviolability persons of envoys means here that is the diplomatic agents who should not be insulted or they may not be detained or may be convicted by the receiving state. This is under Article 29 of the Vienna Convention on the Law of the Diplomatic Relations. For that is there should not be made any type of any illegal or any that is contrary to their personal freedom and security of the personal freedom or dignity of that diplomatic agent. This was laid down in US diplomatic and consular staff in Tehran, the decision given by ICJ. The facts of this case is already explained in the state responsibility. The same thing here again. In this case, US that is diplomatic and consular staff in Tehran. Some of the rioters and military forces of Iran, they occupied these premises of the diplomatic agent. And they seized these consulars as well as the diplomatic agents, and they carried as hostages. And United States of America brought before ICJ. The ICJ held that it is a customary practice of under international law, that is there is certain reciprocal obligations lies between the states for the purpose of entering with the relationship. For that, it is said that the obligations are that to ensure the personal safety of the diplomats, they are enjoying certain freedom from prosecution, because those are the essential factors for the relationship in international law, because they are performing certain sovereign functions. For that, the court found that is Iran has violated the obligations under the Vienna Convention on the what is called as Diplomatic Relations 1961 Convention. For that, it is held that Iranian government is held liable and to pay that is damages in terms of there is a reparation, and to release from those hostages, and to restore embassy premises. Again, the same thing which was made by ICJ with regard to Kulbhushan Jadhav case. In that Kulbhushan Jadhav case, everyone knows that is Indian case. This case that is brought by India before it is ICJ against Pakistan, because Pakistan has considered this Kulbhushan Jadhav as a spy, and he was detained. And the ICJ held that is Pakistan has violated the treaty agreement of Vienna Convention on Law, that is on the Diplomatic Relations 1961 Act. For that, it was held that is Pakistan is held liable for this act. Next one is inviolability of criminal jurisdiction. That is here also the diplomatic agent who is immune from the criminal procedure of the receiving state. They should not be detained or maybe that is arrested in the receiving state while they are performing their sovereign functions. For that is because is presumed that they do not violate the laws of the receiving state. In this case, an illustration, a daughter of Hungarian diplomat came to India as a tourist. Note this point, as she is a divorced daughter of Hungarian diplomat. She came for the purpose of tourist, and she met an accident when she was in India. And as a result of that accident, one person was killed. That is, the legal heirs of that person filed against a diplomatic agent. And that daughter of Hungarian diplomat, she claimed the defense that she is the daughter of diplomatic agent, and for that she is immune from criminal process against her. It was held that it is immunity which is extends not only to the diplomatic agent but also his family and servants. But if the relatives of this diplomatic agent, if they are living under his roof while he was performing the sovereign function, second one is that maybe that they should be performing at that time, that is official function, a sovereign function. Then only this immunity of criminal jurisdiction can be claimed either by the diplomatic agent or by his relatives. It includes wife, daughter, and servants also. But in this case, that is the Hungarian daughter, what she claimed the defense as she is immune from criminal jurisdiction. It is failed because she came as a tourist and not at the official function. At the same time, that is, she is not living at the roof of a diplomatic agent at the time of accident. For that, she could not get any immunity under this case. Next, one more illustration. X is an Indian national. He is an embassy to French government. When he is performing certain functions in India, at that time he causes certain personal injury to the Frenchman. For that the question came before the court that whether the diplomatic agent can claim immunity in Indian courts. It is held that is diplomatic agent who is a French diplomatic agent who is in India, and he can claim that is immunity from the criminal jurisdiction because he was performing sovereign function, and also he has the jurisdiction to try on his nationals. For that, it may be that is the receiving the sending state. The sending state may give the punishment. It may in the form of it may call back the person, but he can claim the immunity in that state because he is performing sovereign function. Next one, immunity from civil jurisdiction or inviolability from civil jurisdiction. That is, whenever a diplomat came to another state as a diplomat, and in receiving state, he is generally immune from civil jurisdiction. That is, in the receiving state, the courts cannot either arrest or can make any punishment to this diplomatic envoy because he is performing sovereign function. But there are certain exceptions. That if the diplomatic agent, if he makes any acts for his own personal things and not behalf of the sending state, in such circumstance he cannot claim any immunity or privileges under this diplomatic as an agent which is granted or conferred under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, 1961. In this, for example, if the diplomatic agent, if he has made any debt with that citizen of that receiving state, or if he commits any breach of contract, in such cases he cannot escape his liability because he is performing those acts on his own personal things, not on behalf of the sending state. That is what I said. Here the immunities or the privileges will be extended only if he is performing sovereign functions and not for his personal things. For example, if the diplomatic envoy, if his immovable property is situated in the receiving state, or if he is acting as a succession, as a executor or the administrator or a legatee against any succession acts, in such cases he cannot claim any immunity. Third one, if he is involved in any professional or commercial activity of his own, for his own personal objects, personal purpose, then he cannot get any immunity or privileges, because that functions are not considered as sovereign functions, but those are for his own personal activities. He cannot get any immunity under this act. Then that is for example, that is a diplomat to India who is taken a private house in Delhi on lease, and he failed to pay, that is the rent, to the landlord. The landlord filed a suit against this diplomat envoy. Then this diplomat, he pleads that is he is a diplomatic envoy and he is immune from any civil or criminal jurisdiction of the courts. Under Article 30, it provides that is immunity from civil jurisdiction extends only in case of official functions and not for his private residence. For that he cannot exercise any immunity under this case, because the property which is situated in receiving state, that is in India, it is only for his private residence and not for the official function. Third one. Fourth one, that is inviolability from residence. That is again, the inviolability of residence means here, whenever the diplomat resides in the receiving state, on him either any type of insult or arrest or in any illegal act should not be done by the receiving state. That the receiving state has to take due care not to cause any harmful acts to the diplomatic envoy when he is staying as a diplomat. In that way, he can get the immunity from the residence. For example, already said, that is the case is once again it is referred in this context is US diplomat and consular staff in consular premises in Tehran. Next one is fifth one, that is immunity from being or from that is calling as a witness, presented before a court as a witness. That is the diplomatic agent should not be considered or compelled to give any witness before any court, because if he himself has waived that right, then he can lose that immunity. He cannot be called before any court to give witness by himself. This is the immunity which is conferred on diplomatic agent under the Diplomatic Relations, that is Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations 1961 Act. Then immunity from police rules. Again, that is whenever a diplomatic agent, when he performs in the sovereign functions in the receiving state, he is immune from the police rules. Then that is his immunity from the taxes and rules. Taxes and rules. Again, Article 34 of the Vienna Convention says that the diplomatic agent is immune from all taxes, either may be personal tax, real tax, or national or regional or municipal tax. But there are certain exceptions to this waiving of or to the immunity of tax. payment of taxes. For example, that is, he is not immune from the taxes like indirect taxes, that is taxes which are imposed on the goods or services. For that he cannot immune, because those are the for that he is abide by those rules. Then he tax on immovable property. That property is related to his personal property and not for the not on behalf of the sending state. In such cases, he is not immune from payment of taxes. Then, if he has any estate or succession or inheritance duties in the receiving state, if he is acted as for any succession, in such cases, he is not immune from payment of taxes. Then, right to worship. That is a diplomatic envoy is free to worship any religion or any ritual or ceremonies. He is free from following anything. Then immunity from inspection from the personal baggage. That is the diplomatic envoy is free from his personal baggage unless there is serious doubts with regarding to his belongings. For example, if the articles imposed are prohibited under the receiving state, or if there is any quarantine regulations in the receiving state. For example, what we are observing now, COVID-19 in the receiving states. If any foreigner comes in the receiving state, they are not immune from that is personal baggage. Even that also includes for the diplomatic agent also. Only in serious grounds they can inspect, otherwise generally he is immune from personal baggage, inspection from the personal baggage. Then freedom of communication. That is, diplomatic envoy is free to communicate to his receiving state for his official communication. Next, that is right to travel freely. The diplomatic envoy, he is free to travel in the receiving state unless there is prohibited areas. These are some of the diplomatic, that is, privileges and immunities which are conferred under the Vienna Convention on the diplomatic relations. Next, one more question comes, that whether diplomatic agent can waive his that is privileges and immunities, because these are the rights and duties which are conferred under the convention because of for their that is sovereign functions which they are performing, and also they are considered as they are outside the territory of receiving state. On that ground, that these are the special privileges which are conferred on the diplomatic agent. But if the diplomatic agent, if they waive themselves, can they waive their rights? It is a question. It is that there is no obligation on the diplomatic agent not to waive his rights. If he waives his rights, he cannot claim those privileges and immunities which are granted. In this case, we will go with one case, R versus Kent. In this case, this was the question, which was the problem, which was asked in the previous question papers. 9th question, like that problem will be asked in this. Otherwise, the main question: what are the privileges and immunities conferred on the diplomatic envoy? This is only one question in this main question, or maybe the problem question. They will ask for 9th question. In this case, R versus Kent. Kent was a clerk in the embassy of America, and he was an American embassy in England. That is, Kent was dismissed from service because he stolen 2 documents in the diplomatic office, because he was working as a clerk. On the same day, this ambassador or the diplomatic envoy, he waived his right. That is, Kent was arrested and he was prosecuted. But this Kent, he claimed that as a defense that he is a clerk of that embassy. For that he should not be prosecuted. But the court said that the court dismissed the case and found that he was sentenced for conviction, because it is said that when the diplomatic agent, when he has waived his rights, then the person cannot claim any immunities under the diplomatic agent. Last one, consuls. Who are the consuls? Consuls are those, they are also the representatives of the state, but they are not considered as a diplomatic agents, because their functions are different from this diplomatic agent. But they are represented from the state also. But their function is that is they look after trade and commerce of the state's interests. They supervise the shipping of their country. They look after the interest of their citizens and assist in their getting passports and etc. Also, they testify the signature and they register birth and death of their nationals. And next one is what is the privileges, nature of privileges. Whether they can also claim what is called as privileges and immunities. But under diplomatic relations, Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, it was not conferred any privileges on the consuls, but the privileges and immunities, those are conferred on the consuls only through the bilateral relations between the states. And this makes consuls. Last question with this diplomatic agent. Whether a state, means receiving state, can refuse the diplomatic agent. This the question again comes. Then the receiving state can refuse only in case of that if the diplomatic agent's nature is harmful act, or if his conduct is hatredness, or envious, or if it is anything considered as what is called as non gratia, that is undesirable person. On that grounds, a state can refuse the diplomatic agent. But normally, it is presumed that is diplomatic agent who could not do such acts in the receiving state because of his honor and dignity. Those are not performed. But if it is committed any illegal acts in the receiving state, is already told that is either that person may be called back from the sending state, or the receiving state can declare as a person non gratia, that is undesiring person.